Good evening aspirants, welcome to daily editorial analysis of Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is August 2, 2024. Displayed here are the list of topics that we are going to discuss today. Now without any delay, let us get into the discussion. Now look at this news article. Supreme Court has ruled that state governments have power to create new subclassification under SC/ST quota. This means the states can create subclassification under SC quota. So this is the news. In this context, let us discuss the basics of reservation in India. Firstly, who are OBCs? Other than SC/ST classification, the people who are socially and educationally backward and who needs a reservation. This is based on the underrepresentation in government services. So this is the base for classifying OBC. The National Commission for Backward Classes in 1993 have created a separate category called OBC for reservation. Now looking at the constitutional provisions regarding OBC. Article 15 deals with prohibition of discrimination. Under this, the states can make special provisions. And there is Article 16 which deals with equality of opportunity and reservation can be made for underrepresented backward classes. Article 340, it deals with the appointment of commission to investigate the conditions of backward class. So these are three important articles regarding OBC. Now let us see the timeline of OBC commissions. First commission was Kaka-Kalekar Commission. It was constituted in 1953. This commission identified 2,399 castes and recommended reservations for them. The second commission was Mandal Commission. This is an important commission. It was constituted in 1979. It identified 3,743 castes and recommended 27% of reservation. And then there is Indra Savani case related to OBC reservation. In this case, the Supreme Court upheld reservations and capped the total reservation at 50%, including the OBC reservation and the SC/ST reservation. This case also introduced creamy layer concept. The backward class division within the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is responsible for policy, planning and implementation of OBC programs. The important institutions for other backward classes are National Commission for Backward Class (NCBC), National Backward Class Finance and Development Corporation. So these are other institutions working for the benefit of OBCs. Now let us see the criteria for OBC reservation. First let us see the eligibility for non-creamy layer certificate. You should be citizen of India. Your parents' annual income should be below 8 lakhs. The parents' employment should be either Group C or Group D. If your husband is central government employee and your parents do not have a stable source of income, you may still eligible for applying non-creamy layer certificate. So these are the important things to note under non-creamy layer. Now let us see the advantages of reservation system in India. Firstly, it addresses the historical injustice. It provides opportunities for SC/STs, OBCs and rectifies their centuries-old discrimination and oppression. Then it promotes the social inclusion. It fosters social cohesion and diversity by ensuring representation of marginalized groups in government services. Then it ensures equal opportunities. It creates a level playing field which enables individuals from marginalized backgrounds to compete on merit. Then it encourages diversity and representation. The reservation system enriches decision-making process with a wide range of diverse participation. It empowers marginalized communities. So these are the important advantages of reservation system. Now let us see the disadvantages. Firstly, it compromises on meritocracy. The reservation system prioritized caste-based quotas over merit-based selection. So this compromises the quality and efficiency of institutions. Nextly, it perpetuates the caste divisions. The reservation system may reinforce caste divisions in society, which hinders the efforts towards building egalitarian society. Nextly, about the creamy layer and inefficiency. The reservation system is usually criticized for inefficiency and lack of transparency. This is regarding to targeting of disadvantaged individuals within the reservation category. So the recent judgment in Supreme Court has also sparked discussions on this creamy layer and its inefficiency. And there are administrative challenges in implementation and identification of beneficiaries and prevention of misuse. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of reservation system. This is a mains question regarding this topic. Interested aspirants can write the answer and post it in the comment section. With this, let us move to the next topic. Guys, look at this article. The Supreme Court of India is divided on whether to permit GM mustard crops. The environmental groups are concerned that GM mustard could harm the environment due to its usage of specific herbicides. The court has also asked the government to create a policy on GM crops. So this is about the article. In this discussion, we are going to see about the basics of GM crop, the current status of GM crops in India, and what are the issues associated with it. Firstly, what is a GM crop? A plant with genetically modified DNA. That is, a plant that has been genetically engineered by inserting or deleting a specific set of DNA. So those plants are called genetically modified crops or GM crops. The plants are genetically engineered to improve the pest resistance, herbicide tolerance, improve nutrition and better growth. So these are the things for which a crop is genetically modified. Now let us see the current status of GM crops in India. First one is BT cotton. It is the only approved GM crop in India. It is introduced in 2002. It contains a gene from Bacillus thuringiensis. That's why it is called BT cotton. The BT stands for Bacillus thuringiensis. That is the bacteria from which the gene is derived. It also has a specific gene called CRY1AC, which gives the ability of pest resistant to this GM crop. The NPT2, which is the marker gene in BT cotton. There are two kinds of BT cotton, Bolgard 1 and Bolgard 2. Bolgard 1 is single gene and Bolgard 2 is double gene. The Bolgard 1 is India's first biotech cotton, which is approved in 2002, and Bolgard 2 has CRY1AC and CRY2AB, and it is used for enhanced protection against bollworms and caterpillars. Basically, the BT cotton or any other genetically engineered crops are approved by GEAC, that is Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. It functions under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. See, the BT cotton is pest resistant, so it reduces the need for use of pesticides. So this is an important significance of BT cotton. Now let us see other genetically engineered crops which are under currently reviewed. First one is HT-BT cotton. It combines a herbicide tolerance with BT pest resistance. So the BT cotton which we already saw is pest resistant. This HT-BT cotton is pest resistant and also herbicide tolerance. It is not yet approved and it is currently under GEAC review. Regarding concerns, this herbicide tolerant variety can create herbicide resistant weeds which can create economic impact. So in period of time, the weeds can become herbicide resistant, so which nullify the purpose of herbicide tolerance. So this may create additional economic impact for farmers. So this is one of the concerns of HT-BT cotton. The next crop is GM mustard, which is also known as DMH11. This is created to increase the yield of mustard and also increase the oil content in mustards. The Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee has approved the GM mustard in 2022 and the commercial release of this mustard is still pending. The concerns regarding this GM mustard is herbicide tolerance and it can create environmental impact. The genes used for GM mustard are Barnase and Barster. The Barnase genes has male sterility and Barster genes has fertility restoration. So the combination of these two genes can create increased yield and oil content. Now let us see the legislation and approval process. The legislative framework for genetically engineered crops are Environment Protection Act 1986 and Environment Protection Rules 1989. This regulates the GM organisms under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and this Environment Protection Act provides the regulatory framework for genetically engineered crops. Now let us see about the approval process. Initially, there will be research at laboratory and there will be field trials of GM crops. It should be done only with GEAC approval. Then the GM crops are evaluated by GEAC and then it is allowed for commercial approval and it is regulated. So this is the approval process of GM crops in India. The key institutions regarding this GM crops are Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. This functions under Ministry of Environment. Then Department of Biotechnology, which coordinates the research, and Ministry of Agriculture, which involves in policy formulation and implementation. So these are the important bodies regarding GM crops. Now let us see the constitutional provisions. Article 48A deals with the protection and improvement of environment. Article 51A under fundamental duties provides for citizen duty to protect the environment. The relevant acts regarding GM crops. First one is Biological Diversity Act 2002, National Environment Policy 2006, Right to Information Act 2005. So these three acts are important related to GM crops. One of the important point to note that is Ministry of Agriculture focus on agricultural policy and formulation, whereas the Ministry of Environment Climate Change focuses on the regulation of environmental safety standards for GM crops. So this is an important difference, please note that. Now let us see the potential of GM crops. Firstly, it increases the productivity of crops. GM crops will lead to high productivity by enhancing the resistance to pests and diseases. It reduces the pesticide use. It increases the tolerance for herbicides and weed management. It also improves the nutritional quality of crops. For example, GM mustard aims to address the nutritional deficiencies in mustard. Then there is enhanced drought resilience. Indian Council of Agricultural Research is developing drought resistant crop varieties. using genetic engineering. So these crops can be used in drought prone areas to increase the yield and productivity. Then another important advantage is enhanced food security. Since India as a large nation with a huge population requires more food and grains, so genetically engineered crops can help with us. The next important advantage is sustainable farming. See, we can promote sustainable farming methods by developing GM crops which can enhance the better yield and stress resistance. Then the GM crops also supports the advancement of agricultural biotechnology, which in turn contributes to the sustainable farming. So these are the important advantages of GM crops. Now let us see the challenges. The first important challenge is environmental concern. See, GM crops can potentially impact the biodiversity and ecosystem imbalance in long run. Since they are genetically modified, it can affect the gene ecosystem. There are many skepticism and opposition among public, and this can also lead to issues in implementation of GM crops. There is also environmental concern like high seed cost for farmers, and the farmers also have to depend on seed companies throughout their farming period. There is also intellectual property issues. So these are important challenges regarding genetically engineered crops. Now let us see the way forward. We have to strengthen regulations regarding the streamlining of review and approval of GM crops. There should be public engagement and education regarding the GM crop. So this will reduce the skepticism and opposition to GM crops. We should also promote the R&D to ensure the safety of GM crops in ecosystem. The farmers has to be supported by providing subsidies for buying the seeds. We should also ensure the safety and sustainability of GM crops in long run. So this is all about the discussion. Here we have seen what are the basics of GM crops, what are the important GM crops in India, the benefits of GM crops and challenges regarding it. Now we have come to the end of the discussion. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you.